channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a vintage shirt or a Cuban collar shirt. So basically the first thing you're going to do is to cut out the fabric you need. It's also called a school shirt. So you cut out so I have my back panel, which is the smaller one, and then the bigger one is going to be my front panel. So the smaller one here, the width is basically the round the chest measurement is what I'm using here, and then plus extra 2 inches. So round the chest I'm working with is 42, right? 42 divided by 4 is going to be 10.5. I added 1 inch for my seam allowance, and then I also added 1 inch for my 1 inch for seam allowance and 1 inch for ease, because you don't want this type of shirt too fitted. So that's why I added extra 2 inches, and the width I have here is 12.5. So but for the front panel, as you can see, I added extra 4 inches here on a fold. So this is cut on a fold, the back panel is on a fold here, and then this is another fold, except this one here has extra 4 inches added to it. So now we are going to go ahead and start cutting it. This fabric is folded on the wrong side, so I can mark my chalk on it. So I'm going to start with the shoulder measurement. The shoulder I'm working with is 16 divided by 2 is 8. I'm going to mark that here. Insert my armhole, which is about 20 divided by 2 is 10. Mark it here. Go up this way, just like this, and then I'm going to come down 1 inch of shoulder slope, right? And then I'm going to come in here, mark my neckline, which is going to be 3 inches here, and then I'm going to connect the shoulder slope to this part. So after that, that's basically what you need for the back panel. My back panel is done. The shirt is going to be cut straight down. So you're going to just check the length you want to work with and add about 1.5 to it. So the length I'm working with here is, because I want this curve here at the edge of this to be in this here, so I just added half an inch for my seam allowance to join the shoulder. But this is going to be the design at the end of my shirt. But if you want, you can add yours. You can add 1.5 inch of seam allowance, half an inch for joining the shoulder, and then 1 inch for folding the edge of the shirt. So that depends on you. So mine, I'm just using extra half an inch of seam allowance just because of this shoulder part. I don't need seam allowance for this edge because this is the end of my shirt. So now after that, I'm going to go ahead and mark 1 inch here for my neckline, and then I'm going to give it a curve this way. This is going to be the back of my shirt. And then for the front of my shirt, all I have to do now is, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and cut this part out, and then I'm going to cut for the front of the shirt. So guys, as you can see, I've cut out the armhole, the shoulder slope, and then just the back neckline. As you can see, only the back that I've cut now. I left the front neckline the way it is. I'm just going to mark where the tip of this shoulder is so that I can know where I'm going to start to cut my front neckline. So this is where the tip is here. So all I have to do now is I'm going to set this aside because I'm done with the back. So now we're going to finish up the front. To finish up the front, all you have to do is I'm going to come down on that same mark that I made here, come down by 3 inches down here, and then I'm going to mark it straight across. So just from the tip of the shoulder to this part, which is going to be my 3 inches, I'm going to connect it this way. And then what I'm going to do is that extra 4 inches that I left here, remember, like I said, I had 4 inches. Guys, I placed back the back panel just to figure out where my line is. So this is where the line of the back panel stops. So this is where my front panel is supposed to be. So now all I have to do is I'm going to take this the way it is, and I'm going to fold it in. So I'm going to fold it, but I'm going to leave my placket space for my placket. So that can be about 1 inch out of the 4 inches that you left. So remember, we have 4 inches here. So if you want, you can fold in the 3 inches and leave 1 inch behind. If you want, you can fold in 3.5 and leave half an inch behind. It depends on you. So I'm going to be doing I'm going to be leaving 1 inch behind and folding 3 inches in. So this is what it's going to look like now. So I'm going to take this away again, and then I'm going to fold it in, leaving my placket because I need it to fold my shirt with. So now the next thing I have to do is just to go ahead and check that I have the 3 inches here. So I think it's more than 3 inches, so I'm going to fold it back again. If you want, you can do up to enough enough like 5 inches here on this fold here, so that it can go inside of your shoulder. If you want, you can do that much, but I'm not doing that much. I'm just doing 3 inches. You will still see the reason why we have this excess fabric here. It will help to make the collar nice, and then it will help to fold out the notch collar when we put in the main collar on it. So after that, all you have to do now is mark out this same line again, join it out how it is, and now we're going to give it a curve for our neckline. So I'm going to give it a curve here. So this is what I'm cutting out now. This is going to be the neck of my shirt. I'm going to cut this out. So guys, as you can see, this is what mine looks like. I've cut it out, and you see this edge here, this is how it's going to be. And if I place back my shirt now, you see I still have that 1 inch for my button allowance, for my placket. So I made sure to check that once it's folded in, I still have that like 1 inch at the edge here. This is going to be where my button and my buttonhole will be, and then every other thing is the same: the neck of the shirt, the armhole, and then the rest. So after that, remember, on the armhole of your shirt, the front of your shirt, you're supposed to cut some out, because the armhole in front is small, is deeper than the one at the back. So all you have to do is just to measure from your shoulder to the end. So for me, I have about 9 inches. So find midway of 9 inches here. So that's going to be 4.5, somewhere here. And then I'm going to just come in here by half an inch. Come in here by half an inch. This is just on my front panel. And then I'm going to connect it using a straight line all the way up. And then I'm going to connect it using a curve down here. And now I'm going to cut this armhole out for my front armhole. And then I've also split it into two, the front of the shirt. So now I have 2 pieces in front and 1 piece at the back. So guys, now I'm going to cut the sleeve. I'm just going to come down here by, I already have my armhole divided by 2. That's the width of this fabric folded here. So all I have to do now is to come down here by like 4 inches down for my sleeve cap. So I'm going to move from this point to this point. I already have a video on how to cut a sleeve. This video is just to show you guys how to make the top part of the shirt, which is the neckline. And then from this line that you made, find halfway through. For me, that's going to be about 6 inches. Give it a curve going down this way, and then you're going to give it a curve going up this way, right? So you're going to put your armhole measurement divided by 2 here, and then you're going to put your tape from this point to this point, and then you're going to give it find halfway through. From that halfway through, give it a curve down, and then give it a curve up. That's basically your sleeve. After that, measure down here the sleeve width you want. So let's say I want my armhole 16 divided by 2. Sorry, my sleeve width around my arm 16 divided by 2 is 8. You can add 1 inch for extra room, and then 1 inch for your seam allowance, or you can just use exactly your armhole. But remember, this kind of shirt is normally free, so you have to add some room to it. So now I'm going to cut this out and then cut out my sleeve. Guys, you see I've cut out my sleeve like I did for the shirt. I have this as the edge of my shirt. If you are folding yours, all you have to do is just add 1.5 to it, half an inch for joining this top part, 1 inch for folding this in to make a clean edge. So now that I've cut everything out, all I have to do is just to go to the sewing machine, open up my shirt this way, and then I'm going to join the shoulders together. So open up this one too. So guys, this is what you have to do. You're going to join the 2 shoulders together, and then you're also going to join the 2 shoulders together on the other side, sorry, this way. So you see, you're going to join this together, and then you're going to put in your sleeve. Once we finish this part, we'll come back and finish up the neckline. So you're going to finish this, close this part, and then insert this sleeve in here just like this, sew it down, and then close up the armhole with a seam going down, and then leave every other thing. We'll come back and finish up the neckline.